everybody doing? I'm hoping everybody's having a beautiful day. Let me just fix this stuff over here. I don't have my pillows up there right now, but I'm gonna put one right here. Make this look weird. How's y'all doing? I'm hoping everybody's having a beautiful day. We got some things to talk about today. First thing I'm gonna do is give a shout out to Air 10. How you doing? What up, Donnie baby? He said, "Yo, 15 minutes past. My fault. I'm a little late." What up, Ish Pearson? Uh, Donnie baby said, "Okay, I'm out." Psst. He's pissed. I was a little bit late. I want to apologize about that. I hope Donnie baby comes back at some point. What up, Brooklyn Don? All right, so a couple of things I want to get clear. They discussed the shots today. We're gonna be discussing basically as always we're gonna go over previous testimony also, but they was discussing the shots fired today. What we're gonna be going over. We're gonna be going over the evidence as far as the shots fired. Remember, there was holes in the ceiling, there was holes in the wall, there was holes all over the place. And they actually cleared up something that I was curious about previously. First thing I want to say is this. For the individuals that thought we was going to, I don't want to show you the whole entire number or whatever, but just so you could be clear on this, so y'all can understand why this is something that we might not be doing most likely. The transcript for Troy Ave's testimony is $836. I don't think we're gonna make that. I just want to throw that out there real quick. The transcript for Troy Ave's testimony is currently $836. I don't think we're gonna make that. That's all I'm saying. I don't think we're gonna make that. So I don't want anybody to feel like I did anybody wrong. I wasn't scamming nobody. I did not know it was gonna be that much. I thought it would be just something a little bit more reasonable. Maybe we could get like a couple pages. I don't know what to tell you. But in any regard, we got a whole bunch of stuff to talk about today. Give me one moment. We got a lot to talk about today. They went over a little bit more of the actual footage. My dude, I'm gonna be perfectly clear with you. His testimony was long. There was a lot of words, and there was a lot of back and forth, especially between him and the prosecution, the defense attorney. It was a lot. Him and Esquire was going at it. It was a lot of back and forth. They was doing their thing. I mean, at the end of the day, the defense attorney is fighting for his client. And whenever you have a cooperating witness, they're up there to be heard for whatever the testimony that the prosecution says that they want them to give. And in that regard, they're trying to do their best to be able to get whatever benefits that they are to receive from giving the testimony that the prosecution that they already agreed to give, because I don't want to make it sound like they're lying. So for whatever the agreed upon testimony is, that they're trying to get that out in order so the prosecution within live up to whatever their words are that they said that they would do for them if they did the appropriate if they testified the way that it's believed that they were going to testify. So both parties was there doing all types of stuff. So both parties was up there doing all types of stuff, just so we could be clear. They were doing all types of stuff, just so we could be clear. What up, Brooklyn Don? What up, Steph? What up, Arc G says, damn, he did write a book up there. My dude, what did I tell you? TOTN says, you're a bit quiet. You might need to just turn up your volume, homie. I know y'all just be trying to get me to yell and scream so y'all can say that I'm being crazy and a madman, right? Yeah, I get it. You might need to just turn up your volume, homie. In any regard, something I want to address, I did not address the other day. I'm going to address it today because I know a little bit more about it. So I will address it today. The other day, Manolo was in front of the building He was actually giving an interview, I believe, to a different social media guy. So he's giving an interview to a different social media guy. I think the dude was actually in the courtroom. I just didn't recognize him. So anyway, he's giving. I'm not real good at recognizing people, and I know people be pissed off because they're top of the food chain in their community, and then they know who I am, and then sometimes I don't know who they are. They might sometimes feel disrespected. I want to apologize about that. I stay to myself a lot because, as y'all know, I got weirdos that stalk me or whatever. So I be a little bit apprehensive about meeting new people. I be a little apprehensive about meeting new people. So that you just got to understand. In any regard, well, the volume is low. There's nothing I can do about it. There's zero things I could do about the volume. You have to turn up your volume. There's zero things. Okay. I'm just going to do my show. If you can't hear, then you want to leave, then that's fine. There's nothing I can do about it. With that being said, so Manolo was outside giving an interview. There's a little bit of backstory I need to give to this before we get to the actual what happened in court today. So Manolo was outside giving an interview. He gets into an argument with Trife. Trife, gangster, for everybody that don't know. Trife is Banger's brother. So he gets into some kind of argument with Trife or whatever the case is. And then somebody with Manolo starts yelling and screaming, and then the police have to come out there. The police from the that building has to come out there and squash the whole situation. How am I going to troubleshoot the problem? Explain to me how I'm troubleshooting the problem, Angela. Explain to me how I'm troubleshooting the problem. If you could explain to me how to troubleshoot the problem, I'll do it. How about that? Exactly, Artin. There is no troubleshooting the problem. There's zero troubleshooting the problem. This is just a person that's trying to distract me. Any regard. So Manolo was out there giving an interview or a take on what he believed happened inside of the courtroom and the way he feels about it, right? And the way he feels about it, right? So he's out there giving the take on whatever happened in the courtroom. For whatever the case is, I'm guessing Trife didn't like something he said. I don't know. There was words exchanged. The police comes outside. They break it up. There was no actual fight. Nothing really big happened. There was just a lot of yelling and screaming, a lot of angry men. There's a lot of emotion involved in that courtroom. Remember, this is a trial because somebody lost their life. Trife's brother. There's a lot of emotion involved in this courtroom. And there's emotion on the other side, too. There's a dude that his family and his friends don't want him to go to jail. Whether he's responsible or not, I'm not here to talk about that. I'm here to talk about the trial and how they're trying to either hold him responsible or try to lift the responsibility up off of him. I'm not here to talk about whether he's responsible or not. That's not for me to deem. In any regard, there's the people on that side are also emotionally connected to this situation. So there's just a lot of emotions going crazy. Thankfully, they had the police out there that was able to make sure that this didn't escalate into a situation of violence. So that's always a good look. So shout out to that. So I thought I just wanted to just mention to y'all because people are talking about that. There was, once again, Manolo was out there. He was giving an interview. During his interview, some people didn't like the interview. An argument erupted. I do not cover that type of stuff. And that's one of the reasons I stopped doing interviews, that I don't want to do any interviews outside, just so we can be clear. That's one of the reasons why I don't want to do interviews outside, just so we can be clear. And the second reason, I'm not doing any interviews of anyone until this whole case is over. I'm going to say that again. I'm not interviewing anyone for any reason as far as this is concerned until this whole entire case is over, period. Period. I'm not interviewing anyone at all, just so we can be clear. I'm not going to do anything that could in any way jeopardize the case that's going on. That's not my job. That's not what I'm here for. I'm not trying to figure out how to get anybody free. And I'm also not trying to figure out how to get anybody incarcerated. I'm not trying to figure out how to do any of that. Now I'm going to listen to my own volume and see if it's low. Nah, that's good. That sounds fine to me. Yeah, that sounds fine to me. Of course, there's no fix. The people know that there's no fix. They just want to make it seem like I don't care. So that's why I don't. I'm not engaging in that. You understand? They just want to tell people I don't care because there is no fix. There's nothing I can do. It is what it is. With that being said, let's get to the actual stuff that's going on. Yeah, yeah, that's it. Let's get to the actual stuff that was going on in court today. Once again, as always, the prosecution and the defense, they're both doing a great job. The judge is doing an exceptional job. There's a couple of things that the judge did today that I thought was extremely fair. I need for people to stop, and this is just me talking. You don't got to pay me no attention. But I need for people to stop just assuming that the judge is always wrong. The judge is just there to make sure that law is followed. That's it. The judge is just there to make sure that the law is followed. That's it. That's the judge's job. That's why the judge is there. Copy? The judge isn't there to convict. The judge isn't there to not convict. The judge is just there to make sure that both parties follow the law as they're giving the whatever they're giving to the jury. Hold on, let me make sure I get to the right pages. This is all today? No, this. There's nothing I can do about the volume, y'all. There's zero things I can do about the volume. Unless that helps. If that helps, then I did something. If that didn't help, there's nothing I can do. I don't know what to tell you. In any regard, in any regard, two witnesses were to be called today. Two officers. So basically, I just want y'all to know there's an officer that did some work. He's not in the country. So what they had to do was there's an officer that's out of the country, right? So basically what happened was they had to call in some other officers that had helped him do the work because he's not there. So I want y'all to understand that that at least one of these officers, I'll unkick her. I kicked her. I'll unkick her. At least one of these officers was just assisting. So these are just assistant officers. They're like assistant pimps. They got the power. Any regard. Before trial started, there was a conversation that they had to have. This is all on the record, so I can tell you about it. And it had to do with paperwork. So apparently, the prosecution needed to put in some paperwork, right? The prosecution needed to put in some paperwork. Thank you, K. Murray. The prosecution needed to put in some paperwork about 2 weeks ago. They didn't. The reason why they didn't put the paperwork in because they wasn't sure that they would have needed it because they would have thought the dude came back from out of the country. The defense said that they had no issues, but they'll see by Monday about whatever the situation is regarding with the new paperwork that's coming in, right? So apparently there's an open case. This is on the record. I hope there's no jurors in here. No jurors should be in here. Also, hit that like button. Let's send out some notifications. No jurors should be in here. 0 jurors should be in here. All right. So if you're a juror, I'm gonna need you to excuse yourself. So if you're a juror, if you're a juror, I'm gonna need you to excuse yourself. I'm over here laughing at Angela. Stop teasing me then. I'm gonna need you to excuse yourself if you're a juror, okay? Because there's some stuff that I'm gonna say, and jurors can't hear this part. I'm just gonna let you know what it is. Any regard, this is on the record, so we can talk about it. Jurors are not supposed to be in here. Jurors, be gone. With that being said, there's open case regarding. This is very interesting, by the way, just so we can be clear about this. Do y'all remember yesterday I told y'all about how am I trying to create a mistrial? I know there's no jurors in here, but I'm being responsible. Copy? I'm being responsible and making a joke at the same time. Do y'all remember the other day I told y'all that there was a big situation that happened when the prosecution got mad at Esquire because basically what he did was he mentioned something that isn't supposed to be mentioned in front of the jury. They had to rush the jury out of the courtroom. Basically, Benga, he asked Troy Ave, remember, he was interviewing Troy Ave, he asked Troy Ave about a situation where Troy Ave, or it came up about a situation where Troy Ave had to bail Benga out of prison, out of jail. So basically, they weren't allowed to talk about that. And the reason why they're not allowed to talk about that is because that is going to prejudice the jury. I keep trying to explain this type of stuff to y'all. So you can't talk about other crimes that the person committed that aren't directly associated with the crime that they were on trial for. So basically what happened was if they would have mentioned that Benga got bailed out by Troy Ave, and that would have been a part that they would have talked about, then they would have been able to talk about other aspects of the criminal actions that Benga had done, and thus putting the deceased on trial. The judge said, we're not doing that. Shout out to the judge. I mean, I'm just saying what it is. I'm not saying because of it helps or benefits anybody, but at the end of the day, we're not putting the deceased on trial. I think that for all of the family members of Benga, that was definitely something that took a weight off of their heart. That's the point I'm trying to make. In any regard, there was an open case revolving around Benga. The guy that's taking the stand today, that took the stand today, he had arrested Benga, or a situation that involved Benga, regarding arrests that they can't speak about. So the prosecution said that there was an open case revolving Benga, and the prosecution was angry that the defense mentioned the open case regarding Benga case. That's what happened previously. And wanted the judge to make sure that the defense didn't act the officer that was coming in today about the Benga investigation. So the judge said his impression is that it had nothing to do with Roland Collins. So I'll tell you what the situation is real quick. So Benga was involved in the shooting. At least he got arrested because he was allegedly involved in a BSB shooting. What the defense is saying is everything involving BSB has to deal with, BSB is their gang, has to deal with Roland Collins, Troy Ave. Every single thing that involves BSB has to deal with Roland Collins, has to deal with Troy Ave, because Troy Ave is the one basically funding the gang. So if they got into a shooting, that means that Troy Ave got into a shooting even if he wasn't there. Oh, you was in the courtroom, brother OTG? Because he was in the courtroom, even if he, because he was at the situation, even if he wasn't there. So every crime that BSB does, the defense is basically saying, especially a shooting, that this crime was most likely did. Oh, because he was, the BSB part. This crime was most likely did in some kind of furtherance of Troy Ave. So the judge said, just so we can be clear, that he doesn't understand, or he has, under his impression, has nothing to do with Roland Collins. The defense said a young lady that was allegedly Banger's girlfriend called Esquire and asked him to represent Banger because it was a BSB issue. So therefore, the way he feels about it is that if it was a BSB issue, that means it has something to do with Troy Ave. So that means that it could come up in this particular case. Yeah, I keep saying BSB. I don't know what you think I'm saying. The fuck, fam? I'm saying BSB. I don't know what you think I'm saying. The judge says a witness can be questioned outside the jury so they can find out if it's relevant. Right? So basically the judge is like, well, I don't think this is relevant, but what I'll let you do is, because we're going to be fair over here, I'll let the jury stay back there where they're nowhere around here, and then you could question him, and we'll see if there's any relevance. And then if they have relevance, then you could question them in front of the jury. Anyway, the prosecution says they didn't want the witness asked how he knew, the detective, how he knew Roland Collins, because that might end up to discuss the Banger case. Now, the detective knew about Roland Collins or who Troy Ave was because when he showed up to the scene and they was looking at the video evidence, one of the other officers that was there said, "Hey, that's Troy Ave. I know him." That dude was Hip Hop Police. So when he showed up to the scene, the officer that all of this questioning is going on about, basically, when he showed up to the scene, another officer, because he didn't know who Troy Ave was, another officer who was actually the Hip Hop Police, they recognized Troy Ave and told him that was Troy Ave on the film. The judge says he didn't see the relevance, but okay with cursory questions or issues discussed outside of the jury. So basically, he allowed for him to question dude outside the jury, but it didn't come up. Nothing came up like it was going to be relevant. So he was like, "Hey, we did that guy, none of the things." And they also brought up another point of contention was the telegram. For everybody that don't know, that's a phone thing, and there's a telegram because TAXSTONE was on the phone and he was doing some telegram stuff. So apparently there's a telegram thing. So there's some information that they took off the phone that's also going to be evidence, but they're doing that evidence later. They didn't do that evidence today. They might be doing it tomorrow. So regarding tax, saying that whatever the telegram is, I'm not going to tell y'all what it is. I'll tell y'all what it is because I spoke on it previously. The telegram is TAXSTONE allegedly saying that he would pay for witnesses. Stan Edmonds says it shows a pattern of violence. It shows how he likely to attack TAXSTONE whenever Banger saws him. That should have been allowed. That's motive. Okay, so one, yes, I agree that that's what the lawyer was trying to do, right? But you have to have probable. Once again, you can't bring in evidence that don't deal with the case. You can't talk about shit that's not relevant to the actual case that's happening. So you have to build a foundation for everything that you want to bring in. You understand what I'm saying? The judge allowed him to attempt to build foundation. He couldn't build foundation, with all due respect. The judge allowed for him to question the guy outside the presence of the jury. I mean, the judge, what else is the judge supposed to do? He wasn't able to build, pardon me, get a drink. He wasn't able to build a foundation that will allow for them to bring that evidence in. The judge gave him wiggle room to allow for him to question the dude without the presence of the jury. He just wasn't able to do it. Once again, it's not, it's what you could prove. You understand? So they allowed him to the leeway to try to, and it just, he couldn't figure anything out at the moment. That's all I could say. Maybe after he went home, he's like, oh shit, I thought of a thing. I don't know. I don't know. But at that moment, he wasn't able to figure out a way to get around the parameters that was already set in order for him to be able to get that evidence into, or to allow for that line of questioning to be proposed in front of the jury. With that being said, we got 232 people in here. Can we hit that like button so we can send out some more notifications, please? Ultimate Wilson says the judge don't want the real tax to be seen because he will have no shot. He doing things to balance. I think the judge is being, as I don't he's being extremely fair. Like I told you, the courtroom is like, he's like a Greg Maddox of judges, you know, like hitting the corners. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like right there. Like, it's just, it's fair as could be, man. I don't know what to tell you. Like, I haven't seen anything that I thought was not fair. I haven't seen anything that I looked at personally and was like, oh, the judge was some bullshit. I haven't seen that personally at all. Like, even if I didn't agree with something, you know, at the end of the day, I was like, hey, that was still fair shit. And that's all you want. In any regard, the jury comes back. The jury actually enters. This is when they first come into the room. So we got Sergeant Dexter Bonus. He's 13-year vet. He's actually in his outfit. This dude came in his uniform. Just so we could be clear. In his uniform. So he was like, I'm here, boss. He was all of the things. So he shows up in his uniform. He's 13-year vet, 5 years in the Transit Bureau, 6 years as a crime scene unit, police scene area 9 or something like that. I don't know what that's about. Also, he investigates crime scenes and he promotes, pardon me, he got promoted. And he got promoted to detective. So let me make sure this is the guy that actually was in the, yeah, this was the dude that was in the damn thing. That was crazy. I was like, what the hell, fam? I was like, you in your uniform? Like, you, I mean, you love, I mean, fuck it. Love your job, homie. What could I tell you, right? Shout out to the Mellow over here with the dub drop. Who's next? All of the dub drops. With that being said, so basically he was part of the crime scene unit that went to Irving Plaza with Detective Anthony D'Amato. Remember, Anthony D'Amato, that nigga in another country right now. He's like, I'm on vacations. He's out there. You know he might be doing. Anthony D'Amato might be bass boying it up. Passport boying it up. King said I should stop talking so they can hit them likes. Hit them like buttons, man. What is y'all doing? We got 260 people in here. Could y'all hit that like button? So Anthony D'Amato is in another country. He might be passport broing it up. Hell yeah, I want to be a passport bro. I want to go find a one. First of all, I got to be a better man than so I could be the best man I could be, so I could be the best husband I could be, and then the best father I could be. So I got a lot of growing to do myself to make sure I get a line. But at the same time, I'll passport bro it up. I ain't what the fuck, fam. These women nowadays, you know what? These men nowadays, I'm not doing this. We got men that got issues. We got women that got issues. We all got issues. We got to figure out a way to make that shit work. Since we can't figure out a way to make it work, I'm gonna go find a woman that is already making it work, and then we can make it work together. Because I might have some growing to do, so I need to go find somebody that has less growing to do. Does that make sense? With that being said, responded to the location before midnight. There's a whole bunch of statistic stuff y'all don't need to know. It's just for my own benefit. So when I put all the information together, I could align everything. So it's a whole bunch of run numbers and stuff like that y'all don't need to know. Anyway, so he first did the walkthrough, photographed the scene. Let's get to some of the nitty gritty stuff. Once again, just voucher information and stuff. Just voucher information and stuff like that, right? So, all right, just so y'all can know, I write everything down. So it's just voucher information and stuff like that. Boom. Photos showing where the casings were found. I found this interesting. Hold on, I'm gonna shoot over to what the defense side real quick. So I found this interesting. He admitted this officer admitted that just because you find the shell casing somewhere, that doesn't mean that's where the gun was fired at, because somebody could kick it. So the shell casings could get kicked any old way. So that was interesting. Esquire got that out of him. Said that the shell casings could have been moved. He agreed. He agreed. They showed where the bullets came through the ceiling at. Also, just so we could be clear, the prosecution also brought it up, just so we could be clear, that the shell casings is not always an indicator where the gun was fired, and they can easily be kicked around. Every time you call him Esquire, I'll be laughing. And I found out the name, Keenan. The DA, the lead DA is Keenan. Shout out to Miss Keenan. Well, I don't know what to call her. Dr. Keenan's over here. Shout out to Dr. Keenan's over here. So voucher, bullet, boom, boom. The bullet went. One thing that was super interesting. So People's 155, right? So People's Exhibit 155 is basically, they showed the trajectory that the bullet came out of the gun that went through the floor. So I thought that was interesting, because remember the dude got shot on the second floor, the bullet came through the ceiling. It was just his time. I don't know what to tell you. I don't know what that dude been doing. I don't know what what's going on with him. I don't know what that dude been doing in his life. I don't know what's going on with him. But he was on a whole nother floor, and the Most High deemed it was time for him to get shot, because they showed the trajectory. I'm not trying to laugh about this shit, but People's 155 is the bullet trajectory that they used the rod to show that the bullet went through the floor on the third floor and through the ceiling on the second floor. I'm not 100% sure why that is so much, why it's so important now, but I just thought it was something for me to bring up. Give me 1 second. I just thought it was something for me to bring up. I don't want y'all to get lost on. I just think this is something that we're going to find out about later. Bullets got 0 names. Ask me the question about the Engel Benga got hit later. After we finish this, I have no problem going back through my notes and answering any questions. Copy? If after we finish this, what happened today, I don't have any problem going back through my notes and answering any questions. So if you have a question, just wait for me to finish everything that happened today, and then I'll go back through my notes and answer any questions. So I thought that was interesting, not for nothing. Um, Guy admit that just because the shell casings was found anywhere, that don't mean that that's where the gun was fired. And also there was they got the bullet trajectory that went through the floor and through the ceiling to hit the guy on the other floor and screw him up. Then the defense comes on. It's Esquire's turn. Says was not recovering officer, but was there. So yeah, so this dude isn't the main officer. He just assisted. He just wrote notes and took photos. So basically, I think he was trying to basically say that this guy, trying to get it into the jury's head that this guy can't know much about anything. He was robbing. But Robin's dope, by the way. I think we need to give Robin more credit, by the way. Robin's kick ass. Robin's only around to be a distraction. You do know that, right? Robin's only there to get all the gunfire. That's why Batman is dressed in dark colors and Robin is dressed in yellow. So Batman can sneak up on you while everybody's shooting at Robin. Hey, Batman is not that cool of a guy. I promise you. He's not that cool of a guy. In any regard, he did the walkthrough with the 13th precinct. He was told that possibly there was 4 people shot. There was a videotape, someone coming out of the VIP room. They agreed that there was no way to tell where the casings initially landed. So basically the shooting could have really happened anywhere. The casings is not indicative of where the gun was fired at because the casings is so small and anybody could have kicked it anyway. And then we switched to Detective Backergin. I don't know how to say this person's name. I don't even know how to spell the name. I couldn't even understand. So this is now we get to the next witness. She's a 23-year vet, 8 years in the crime scene unit. She's a detective, investigator. She responds to crime scenes and collects and packages evidence. She assisted also Anthony D'Amato. That guy's in another country living his best life. On June 2nd, she went to Irving Plaza to collect ballistics. Remember, this happened on May 26th. R.I.P. Banger. Remember, this happened on May 26th. June 2nd, she went to Irving Plaza to collect the ballistics. There's a whole bunch of run numbers and everything. Y'all don't really care about that. But what I will say is this. Remember that wood I was talking about? So apparently, one of the shells or the bullets or whatever, the deformed copper jacket, I believe, was in the piece of wood. So they had to cut the wood out of it was on the railing. They had to break the railing off or cut the railing out. And that's how they got the bullet. Then they had to put that in evidence or whatever. So that's basically what she talked about. Then they showed a diagram of a whole bunch of shit. So basically, they were just going over where the shots had happened at, and they was going over basically the crime scene. So that's what today was about. Today was about the officers explaining what the crime scene was. They brought the pictures up there. They played a little bit of video, so the officers can explain to the jury exactly what was going on during the crime scene, just so we can be clear what was happening today. So this is Officer John Santiago, right? So that witness is done. It was just all evidence. It was just all evidence like what I just explained to you. We got 248 people in here. Can we hit that like button, please? Send out some notifications. So the judge sends the jury out or whatever, right? Because they need to talk about Detective John Santiago. John Santiago is the dude I explained earlier that they wanted to make sure that he didn't ask anything about Okay, so I'll explain what's going on. I'm going to explain. Esquire is trying to figure out or trying to get into evidence, basically what somebody in the chat said earlier, that basically Troy Ave and his guys were the aggressors. So what he's trying to get into evidence is other situations where they were aggressive towards people or situations or whatever the case is. Because what he wants to do is paint them as dangerous. Say, my client's not dangerous. These guys are dangerous. These guys are doing all of these things. These guys are attacking these people, attacking those people. It was a shootout. So that's what Esquire is trying to do. The problem with that is, unless you have foundation, you can't bring that information in the court because it's prejudicial. So you have to have a foundation already laid down in order for you to bring that in court. Like, I'm going to give you the best example. Why do you think before they speak about certain evidences, one of the first things that they do, just so we can be clear, is let you know this officer has worked on the force this long, they've been a part of this unit, that unit, this unit, so you can have an understanding that they know what they're talking about. They're an expert in their field. So now when you ask them a question and you ask them a question based on their opinion could be accepted as evidence because they are an expert in that field. So now, when you want to bring in evidence about, let's say, the guy's a ballistics evidence or a gun expert, now you can ask them all different type of questions revolving around fucking guns, especially guns that is in this particular situation. But if he's not an expert on guns, how could you ask him about, how guns work? So what they do is they go and they ask them the questions to make sure that both attorneys and the court agree that this specific person has the requisite knowledge in order to be able to speak on certain matters. So, therefore, when they talk about whatever's going on with those guns, that information is allowed to be put into evidence. The problem that Esquire is having is he doesn't have any foundation to be able to build up to bring into evidence that these dudes have or have not been violent, but he wants to show that they have been violent. He's not able to create any foundation in order to be able to bring in that kind of evidence. What up, Block? You understand? So he's not able to create that foundation. So what he wants to do is, when he has an opportunity, he wants to show that their side had committed violence. Yes, we are talking about Kenneth Montgomery. Montgomery Esquire. That's who we're talking about. Exactly. So that's what he's trying to do. You understand? So I need to say this so you can understand why I'm talking about certain things. He's trying to build the foundation so he could bring other evidence in that'll weigh light on the fact that his client, in his belief, had an actual fear of, the individuals that he got in, that the situation revolves around. And if he can do that, I'm not even going to say where he could go with that because I don't want to mess up what he's trying to do over here. But that's what he's attempting to do. So when this officer takes the stand, the prosecution already know what he want to do. She said it. She said it. She was like, I already know what he want to ask. She said it. I believe she did an objection. I believe she did an objection before the guy even came out. Yeah, they trying to Dikembe Mutombo. So she did an objection before the dude even got on the stand for her to be able to question. So the jury let out of the room, right? Because he's about to come up. Then they already spoke on this. So they're going to do preliminary questions. Esquire is going to do some preliminary questions. And basically, he asked, was he aware of the BSB had a shooting? I believe the dude said, yeah, because that's why he wants to question him about that shooting, but he can't. Then the guy immediately says, Troy Ave wasn't a part of it when he asked him about it. And then he asked him what was going on with the shooting. He said it was outside of a club concerning people with BSB. He agreed. And then he also agreed that the fellow that the only reason why he knew who Troy Ave was because one of his fellow officers, the dude from the hip hop police, identified Troy Ave from a video at Irving Plaza. So if he would have said, just so we could be clear, so you can understand, if he would have said that he knew who Troy Ave was because of the BSB shooting specifically, then that would have probably opened up the gate to allow for him to then question him about the BSB shooting. Do you get it? Do we got any lawyers in here or anybody that know anything about law? Am I explaining this appropriately? If I'm not, let me know. I believe I'm explaining this appropriately. We got almost 300 people in here. Can we hit that like button so we can send out some more notifications? I appreciate y'all. Okay, so somebody just sent 5 for the paperwork. One time, I'm just gonna let y'all know, I do not think the paperwork is gonna be possible. Troy Ave did so much talking up there, and there was so much back and forth between him, and the paperwork is gonna cost almost $900. So I don't know how possible that is. So I don't want y'all to keep sending money for me to go get some paperwork. We's too far away from that number. I just want to let you know. So if you're gonna support the page, support the page. But this is almost $900 for this particular piece of paperwork. I don't know how possible that's gonna be for us over here. I'm just letting you know. But if somebody is gonna purchase it, I'll go get it. To be honest with you. But I don't know how possible this is. That's gonna be damn near $900. I don't want to give people the wrong. I didn't know that till today, by the way. Mello said, if Esquire opened the door, then the prosecution will begin in a harassment tax. Oh, man. Maybe, fam. Maybe. That's a fact. Maybe. Imagine what kind of content we'll have if we get a hold of that paperwork. You know what I'll do? You know, y'all really want to be entertained. You know, I'm killing it. If that's almost $900. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not even gonna. We gonna focus on what we got. I'm actually doing a pretty decent job, I believe. I believe. I mean, I don't know. We have to talk to people that's actually been in court, and they can tell you if I'm doing a good job or not. I think I'm doing a pretty decent job. I'm trying to do a better job every day, though. I promise you I am. The Few said Troy Ave making an album off of this case. He making about 8. My dude, just so you can be clear, every rapper would love to be in the situation that Troy Ave is in without having to get on the stand. Shout out to Jones. Salute. Super producer. Every rapper would love to be in Troy Ave's situation with the exception of getting on the stand. World Be Free says, you the only one covering it, brother. People watch your videos and repeat it on their channels. We already know. It's all good. But that's how you know. But yeah, I should get on Star. That's a fact. But that's how you know that niggas don't got no integrity. Because they're watching over here and then they don't even mention where they got it from. You feel me? So that's all I can say. That's all I'm gonna say about that, and I'm gonna move off of it. I'm gonna read some comments real quick. Drop some comments. I'm gonna read some comments. We're reading comments right now. Drop some comments. Champagne says you should get on the Star Report again and speak about Troy Ave. You're the most informative reporter. I'm gonna hit him up. Matter of fact, I'm trying to hit him up tomorrow, and we're gonna see if we can try to make that happen. Shout out to Overlord Jones, says that blocking the trigger. I don't know what to tell you, fam. But if he really did block the trigger, he probably saved a life or two. If he really did block the trigger, he has a reason to be feeling like he is Superman, a superhero. I'm just saying. If he really did block the trigger, my dude, if that really happened, I'm not saying it did happen. I'm not saying it didn't. If he really did block the trigger, if he really did have the foresight, not even the foresight, if he really did have the presence of mind to block the trigger in a situation like that, my dude, I mean, I don't know what to tell you. He said that and hitting the sport mode to fool the shooter into thinking he was under fire. Choice of cow. I don't know what to tell you, fam. Let's see what Angela said, because somebody said that her comment is wrong. Troy isn't the only artist Tax was hard on. No one else tried to jump him. However, Troy and his thugs beat up many people behind them criticizing. And that's what I believe Esquire was trying to bring into court, and he was just, he couldn't build the good foundation. That's what I believe Esquire was trying to bring into court. He just couldn't build the good foundation, with all due respect. Shout out to the Most High, by the way. Not for that, just, for everything. Did they play Math Hoffa interview with Troy Ave in the courtroom? It's been mentioned, I think, more than once, just so we could be clear. But I'm gonna be quiet. Mr. says Tax had issues with a bunch of people. We just ran into Av, not them. Chris says AGV thing is things. You two are the only ones actually showing up. But I don't want to say that guy's name on this page. He just did some weirdo videos about me at one time with some weird shit. I don't want no problems with nobody. Every time I mention somebody, they find that as a way to start arguing with me. You understand what I'm saying? I don't understand this shit. So I don't got no problems with that guy. I hope he's doing whatever he's doing over there, and he's whatever. These niggas is always trying to figure out a way to have an argument with me, so I don't be wanting to talk to nobody. Appreciate you, Tommy. He said that time. I mean, appreciate you, Champagne. He said that Tommy shirt is fire. It's fresh as fuck. Okay, we're not gonna. He said somebody was about to get beat up. I'm not doing that. Nah, you ain't do nothing wrong. You don't know. You understand what I'm saying? And not for nothing, I wish I could shout out people for their good work. You know what I'm saying? I wish I could do that. But if I do that, then the next thing you know, they're gonna be arguing with me. Whatever. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to do that. And I don't know if the dude, and I don't know what was happening with you said Bess or whatever, Big Boy Bess. Yeah, I don't know about. Y'all stop putting people. Nat said don't put people names in the chat. And that's the first thing y'all do. I'm not kicking you. I'm just deleting the freaking comments. Yeah, so I don't know what was going on with whatever. Like I told you before, I'm impartial. I'm not getting into, I don't know why these guys is arguing or whatever. I'm not a part of that. I'm the media. I'm not going to the courtroom to be cool with this guy and to be cool with that guy. I don't have no problems with nobody, and I'm there to do my job and then come back to you guys. That's what I'm there to do. I mean, I don't, after all of this is over, after the verdict, I'll interview whoever would like to talk. If nobody don't want to talk, I'm fine with that too. But whoever would like to talk, I would love to sit down and give everybody an hour-long or 2-hour-long interview. Real talk. But as far as this is concerned, I'm not, I don't want to have too much interaction with people before the end of the trial. I don't want to. I have to be, we're in a different area in the media. You understand what I'm saying? We're in a different area. You understand? That's his name, Big Body Best. Shout out to him. Shout out to everybody. Like, what the hell? I don't got no problems with nobody. Big Product says, do you think Cass and Tax could nope, I'm not answering that question. Deion Sanders in Colorado at Colorado and Family says, oh, Tax get more time. He already did like 6. I have no idea. You have to find out what happens after this. Tax is facing murder 2. Earlier, I was incorrect about which one he was facing. I thought it was murder 1. He's not facing murder 1. He's facing murder 2, just so we can be clear. I was incorrect before when speaking on it. I forgot. Y'all guys cleared that up for me. Y'all guys straightened me out. I'm straight now. I've always been straight. I've been straightened out on that particular fact, you rat bastards. Anyway, let's get to John Santiago. Y'all ready to get to the next witness, or is there something else y'all want to talk about real quick before we get to the next witness? It says, how many days left on trial? I'm not 100% sure, but I believe less than 2 weeks. Less than 2 weeks, I believe. I'm not 100% sure. It has to be less than 2 weeks. That's the end by the 31st, right? So I'm not 100% sure. No idea how would I know how long the damn verdict is going to be? What up, Grim Reaper? Salute. How do I know how long it's going to take the jury to come to a decision? You really out here just asking me questions there's no way I can know the answer to? We almost at 100 likes. Hit that button. Let's get to 100 likes. Sheesh, Chris. Literally out here, you asking me questions. How the hell would I know? Fam. Y'all ready for John Santiago already? Or y'all got any dishes? Let's get to 100 likes and we're going to get to John Santiago. Let's get to 6 more likes. Hit that button. What the heck, fam? What are you talking about over here? All of the things. How the hell do I know? You saying it's a sad world? Nah, you good. Don't worry about it. We could always use a good laugh. There we go. We at 100. Let's keep it pushing. Shout out to the people. We could get up to 150. That'd be absolutely incredible. But I'm going to start. Y'all hit the like button. OG keeping us informed. I think I'm doing a halfway decent job. I asked people who actually are in the court, am I giving you guys the way that it's happening in court? And so far, people have basically been saying yes, you know, even though obviously some things that I'm saying they will prefer didn't happen in court, or it's always my perspective. If three people see the same thing, they're gonna describe it three different ways, right? Anyway, John Santiago pulls up. He's an 18-year veteran. He was part of Manhattan South Homicide Squad. He's been promoted to the detective. He was in Bronx Narcotics for 4 years, I believe it says. He went to the 5th Precinct Detective Squad, then the 13th Precinct Detective Squad. He has over 1,000 arrests. He's worked over 100 homicides. Anyway, May 25th, 2016, 13th Precinct Detective Squad. That's where he was at the time. Most senior detective in the squad, just so we can be clear. He was assigned to work at Irving Plaza, was investigating a different situation, and then they called him, and he went to Irving Plaza when he was like when you see the TV shows or whatever, and the guys already like, man, we got to find out how this happened, and then somebody says, yo, we got a hit. You're like, what happened? Yo, they need us over here at that other place. And then everybody turns around and jumps in the car and they woo and go through the streets. That's what happened. I don't know if that's what happened. That's what I envisioned. In any regard, he arrived around 10:30. I believe that's what it said. He either arrived or was informed around 10:30. Could have been informed. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't hear it very well, that part. I was not there present during the shouting match, and if I would have saw the shouting match, I would have turned and kept walking. I'm not doing that. We got to do better. I understand that. I'll stop and I'll address this again. I understand that there's a lot of emotions involved here. You got one family that lost somebody that they love, and you got another family that's quite possibly is in the cusp of losing somebody that they love. So there's a lot of emotion here, and we have to be understanding. And this shit is not, the trial is theater. That's what court is. But all that other shit, that's just noise. We need to figure out how we gonna stop killing and attacking each other. It's hard because after you lose somebody, how do you forgive? How do you forget? How do you move past that? So it's hard. You got a mother that lost her son. And you got other people that got to see her sadness every time they see her. Because she can't hug her son no more. She can't talk to her son no more. So this is what's going on. So no, I'm not going to be videotaping a situation happen in outside the courtroom when people are out there mourning. Because both sides are. They're just mourning two different things. I'll stay in the courtroom and I'll tell you what happened in the courtroom. And I hope you could respect that. We're not doing that, McLovin. I don't usually remove these ones when people say stuff that's crazy, but we're not doing that, McLovin. Copy? We're not doing that. That's your one warning. If you want to talk negative about any party, I'm fine. I'll let you do whatever you want to do. But we're not going to do that. Copy? We're not going to do that. Because somebody's going to say I'm condoning that if I don't dub you. Copy? That's too harsh. You over the line. That's all I'm saying. Anyway. So he arrived or was told around 10:30. I'm not 100% sure. It could have been when he was informed. Anyway, he gets to the 3rd floor. He gets to the location. He goes to the 3rd floor. When he arrived, no victims were still present, apparently. Multiple detectives were interviewing people all over the place and at the hospital. One of the things that he said was, and this was actually a point of contention, just so we could be clear, Hold on, let me put the Cash App in the chat because some of y'all have no idea what it is. Y'all might want to support. Y'all might want to support, and you might not know what it is. So, one of the things that actually became a point of contention, I'm going to mention it now, and it's probably going to come up later also. The detective made a point to say that nobody wanted to help. See, in our culture, when shit happens, don't nobody want to be a snitch. So these guys can't investigate murders. Like, it's hard. I can't even imagine the number of black people that are in jail for crimes that they didn't commit because witnesses didn't want to come forth and be a snitch. I couldn't imagine. I mean, there has to be so many black people rotting in jail for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, life, because witnesses decide that they don't want to be a snitch, so they're not going to come forward. I don't know how to feel about that. How do y'all feel about that? I don't know how to feel about that. How do you feel about that? In any regard. And when I say witnesses don't want to come forward, I'm not even talking about street niggas. They just be people that they want to pretend that they are street niggas. You're not a street nigga. You were just at the club too. It's used to manipulate our culture. I agree with you. You was just at the club too. You're not a street person. You work at the, I don't know, you work at the freaking, I don't know, you got like a government job or some shit. You work sanitation. You're not a street nigga. You got a regular job with your regular family and you just decided to go out this night with your friends, but now all of a sudden you're not a snitch. In any regard, I'm not telling people to help the government or not help the government. I'm just explaining that we do have a situation where, since it's almost impossible to catch people because don't nobody want to talk. It's almost impossible. For real, for real. In any regard. Multiple detectives interviewed people at the location, and they didn't get nothing. Nobody wanted to talk. Nobody wanted to talk. So they couldn't get anybody to help them do nothing. Everybody was just like, I didn't see nothing. Even the people that saw, they was like, I didn't see nothing. Stevie Wonder. Everybody act like they didn't see nothing. In any regard. They was at camera 4 showed the entrance to the green room, and members of the Enterprise unit, the hip hop police, was there. They saw Troy Ave fire the gun on the video. They learned who Troy Ave was because of the hip hop police. Then he was informed where Troy was in the hospital over the gunshot. Then they put Troy in custody immediately. Billy Vicious says, Troy's a rat, Tax Boy is a snake, and you're a goat. It depends. What trial was, I don't know. I cover specific trials. What trial do y'all think we should cover next? Mafia, cartel, kingpin. We have a cartel in Mexico that gave their own dudes up just recently. That's just to go to show you that this no snitching shit is outdated. That's what I'm saying. In any regard, people with Troy Ave was taken to the precinct and interviewed. They interviewed Hovain, though nobody know nothing apparently. They tried to, I'm going to repeat all of this over so we could just make sure that we have the whole thing in order. So the DVR, camera 14, the entrance to the green room, they had the members of the hip hop police that were already there, and they identified Troy Ave was the one that was firing the gun. They learned his ID from the hip hop police. And then they was informed that Troy Ave was in the hospital over a gunshot. Troy Ave was immediately put into custody while he was at the NYU hospital. People with Troy Ave was taken to the precinct and interviewed. They interviewed Hovain. They tried to interview as many witnesses as possible. They seized the van and phones, and then they got search warrants. They were able to identify people going in and out of the green room with the help of the hip-hop police, World Star, YouTube, and social media. That's what he said. Remember that part. Hold on, I gotta mark this. I didn't get an opportunity to do all of my to place all of my notes yet. So my notations. So I needed to put this here. So they were able to identify people going. This is what the officer said. They were able to identify people going in and out the green room with the help of the hip hop police, World Star, and YouTube and social media. No one interviewed with help said they didn't see anything. And even when they was in the room, and some of them wouldn't talk at all. I'm going to say that again. They were able to identify the people only because of the hip-hop police, social media, World Star, YouTube. No one that was interviewed would help. They either said that they didn't see anything, even if they were in the room, and some people wouldn't talk at all. They was like, "Mum's the word," and then the next guy be like, "Mum." I'm sorry, I'm not gonna laugh. Trying to laugh. I just thought of a good skit. Anyway, in any regard, Troy Ave, he agreed at that point. Remember, this is the prosecution talking. This is not the defense. It's still the prosecution. Troy Ave was a suspect at this point for attempted murder and for possession of weapons, the weapons that they found in his vehicle. There was another person as a suspect, and he was dropped as a suspect. No DNA was visible during the gunshots. Anyway, they traced the firearm back to TAXSTONE. They focused on one firearm. Might as well mark it now. They focused on one firearm because it matched ballistics. That's the Kel-Tec. So they focused on the Kel-Tec. The Kel-Tec is the weapon that was they traced back to TAXSTONE. So real quick, why is TAXSTONE on trial? They're telling you the weapon that was used was traced back to TAXSTONE. That's the weapon that TAXSTONE already pled guilty to bringing to New York after purchasing it. Federal, just so we can be clear. They focused on the one firearm because it matched the ballistics, the Kel-Tec. The gun purchased in Florida. The seller was interviewed. So they interviewed the dude in Florida. He pointed out TAXSTONE as the person who got the weapon, allegedly. I guess that's how it happened. I guess it wasn't a pipeline. I guess he just went and purchased it himself. Shout out to Charlie Champion. TAXSTONE identified as the purchaser. During the fall of 2016, he never spoke to the police officer, never spoke to Troy Ave or Malcolm. So neither Troy Ave nor Malcolm pointed him at Tax. He's saying, at least this is the way I'm interpreting the information, Remember, this is the prosecution. Tax became a suspect because he bought the gun, and then he brought the gun back to New York. That's why Tax is the suspect. Tax is not the suspect because it's anything Troy Ave said, and Tax is also not the suspect because of anything that Malcolm said, or should I say the accused. They had eyes on him already. Also, did they say that today or yesterday? Hold on. I don't want to miss on this. Give me 1 second. Or the day before yesterday. Give me 1 second. I think I'm about to miss on this. I'll come back around to it if I miss on it. I'll come back around to it. All right. We just want to keep the flow. I'll come back around to it if I miss on it. Anyway, people from the green room would not cooperate. Once again. So the jury leaves. Right? Because they arguing over something else. The jury leaves. Because this is super interesting. First of all, could we clap it up for Judge Clott? This is super interesting. All right. I want to clap it up for Judge Clott. And in a minute, I'm going to tell you why we're going to clap it up for the prosecutor. And we're going to clap it up for Esquire. Because she asked the question. I did not write the question down. But she asked the question and said, basically, do people from that community tend to help with police investigations? Her question was something like that. So immediately there was a objection. The judge says, do y'all want to handle this in the sidebar, or do y'all want to let the jury go out and put it on the record? Esquire is like, he don't care. Right? Whatever. The judge says, all right, we're going to send the jury out. We're going to put it on the record. Shout out to that shit so we can hear the debate. So basically, Esquire didn't like the fact that she was like saying that this particular community, you're going to get the gist of this as I go, don't like to help the police. And she said she wants to get his experience of the lack of cooperation in the hip-hop community. Esquire says, people cooperating or not cooperating does not have relevance of the hip-hop community. Basically, he's saying it's prejudicial. The judge says, shooting in hip-hop world, different levels of cooperation than other shootings. Many communities, people don't cooperate. So basically, the judge is saying, well, there's a lot of people that don't cooperate with shooting. It's not just the hip hop community. There's a lot of people that don't cooperate with the police. You're saying it like it's just the hip hop community. So the judge is agreeing with Esquire, just so we can be clear. Esquire goes on to say, the reason in which why she brings this up, because in her summation, there's some things that she wants to say. So she's trying to build foundation, the thing that we talked about earlier. So she's trying to build foundation so that in her summation, she can say a thing. So the judge says, is it unusual in a homicide that a community cooperation is limited? Because the judge is agreeing. At least that's the impression that I'm getting. Like, you're making it sound like only this community doesn't cooperate with the police. There's many communities besides the hip-hop community that don't cooperate with the police, especially on a homicide charge. Right? And then Esquire says this. He doesn't like questions. Don't like questions. What community we talking about? You see, because what she didn't realize is, and I do not think she did this on purpose. I think this was a real accident. I think this was a real, I'm doing my job and I'm not thinking about color. But it could come across like you're saying black people. Shout out to Sebastian Tompkins. It could come across like she's white. It could come across like she's saying, you got it. Black people don't like helping the police. The judge was on it immediately, just so I could be clear on this. The judge was on this immediately. As soon as I heard her, I need a break. Be right back. I also wanted to get my words together because this is actually an important issue. All of these issues are important. So, just so we could be clear, I don't think she meant anything by it. I don't think in any way, shape, or form she meant it to go against black people. I think she really was just saying people in hip hop don't want to help police investigations. I really do think that's what she meant. But the judge is like, I'm not allowing this shit in my court. And so he was on it immediately. His first response to the whole thing was basically saying, well, not just in the hip hop community, but there's a lot of communities that they don't help the police with investigations. So why is this relevant? There's a lot of communities like that. There's a lot of communities that you pull up on and they don't want to help the police. Then he said, it's not unusual. This is what the judge is saying. It's not unusual. Look, man. The judge is saying it's not unusual for any community to not want to get involved in a homicide. Like, nobody wants to get involved in that. It's not abnormal. It's pretty normal. I don't care what community you get, that they don't want to get involved with a homicide. He specifically said the only time people was like willing to really jump out, like if you do something to like a woman, like some kind of like DV or something like that, domestic violence or something like that. That's the only time you see people rushing to help. Like, if people don't want to get involved in shit like this. And when Esquire said, don't like the question, what community you talking about? He was like, what community we talking about over here? She agreed. The judge asked her, and she agreed. Generally, cooperation is rare. And then she said, you know what? I take the question back. I don't want to ask the question no more. Now do you understand what I mean by you have to create foundation in order to bring shit into court? If you don't have no foundation, you got to create foundation. You understand? You have to create foundation. If you can't create foundation, you can't bring shit into court. You can't just randomly. This is why I don't go on. This is why I don't think she meant anything by it. I just want to be honest with you. I mean, I don't know what her relationship with black people. You know what I'm saying? But I don't think she meant anything by it. I think she was really just like one of the things, like he said, in her summation, she wants to say something about the hip hop culture. And she was probably going to say something about the hip hop culture in her summation. So what she wanted to do was lay the foundation now. The judge said, we're not doing that. Like I told y'all, this guy's a good judge. What the fuck is y'all talking about? I promise you, if he was up there slacking, I will tell you. No, I mean, I like all the lawyers involved. I think all the lawyers are doing a great job. I think I say that every day. Don't I? I do say that every day, right? Every day I say all lawyers involved are doing a great job, don't I? Oh, I'm not saying what you want me to say. So you just saying whatever you want to say. No, that's fine. You got anything else you just want to say? What the fuck, fam? I say all lawyers is doing a great job every day. Like, what you want me to do? And I found out her name. Her name is Miss Keenan. The Dr. Keenan over there. The Doc. So what you want me to do, fam? No, he is not using the public defender. Yeah, I say every day, I say all of the attorneys involved is doing a great job. So I don't understand. You see how people just say stuff with no foundation? There's no foundation for that. There's no foundation to believe that I think one attorney is better than any other attorney. One attorney is more entertaining. Absolutely. Because they have more work that they got to do. In any regard, she decided to remove the question. But the point I want to make is when she decided she was going to remove the question, you can hear it in her voice. You can hear it in her voice that, oh, I get it. You understand what I'm saying? That's why I don't think it was a race thing. So you think because I said one attorney couldn't get their argument over, and right now I'm telling you that the other attorney couldn't get their argument over. Niggas is weirdos. Lovely P says Tax at Esquire on his podcast even before this happened. That's a fact. Now I'm telling you about, I told you about how Esquire lost an argument, and now I'm telling you about how he won an argument. Earlier, I told you about how Doc Keenan lost an argument, and right now I'm telling you, won an argument. Right now I'm telling you how she lost an argument. I don't understand how that's showing any, like, you trying to say I'm showing favoritism? So I'm not supposed to point out when Esquire do anything good? I can only point out when the other when Keenan does stuff good. Thank you for letting me know. I had no idea. I had no idea. Whoever that was just got all of their comments kicked because they came in here talking about some other page. There you go. I had no idea. You can never build a foundation off of hate. That's a fact. Block, am I hating or am I doing the right thing? Am I hating or am I just doing my job? I'm asking you. Anyway, let's get past that. I don't know. One of the attorneys is colored. I don't know what she is though. She a cutie though. I don't know what she is, though. No, I wasn't out there when he said Troy Ave was lying. Kenneth Montgomery is his lawyer. That's Esquire. Montgomery Esquire. They did speak about a wiretap. Yes, they used that already. Anyway, let me get to the rest, man. You're slowing me up. All right, before we get rest started, y'all want to ask anything? It's pinned. Anybody want to see the Cash App? It's pinned. That's why they didn't catch what until. Oh, yeah, that's why they didn't catch it. No, that's a great point. Because they didn't have a black attorney on their side. That's why they didn't catch what she said. Like, people might take offense to this. But I don't think they meant anything by it. I want to be clear on this. I don't think she meant anything by it. Like, when she took the question back, when she said, you know what, I don't even want to ask the question no more, whatever. Like, you could hear it in her voice. She was like, oh, man, like, yeah, maybe. You know what I'm saying? Maybe. Maybe. He said Trife is always about the fight. He damn sure ain't turning one down. I tell you that much. Trife is not turning no fades down, homie. He ain't turning no fades down. I'll tell you that much. Shout out to the police getting out there and making sure they didn't get too physical out there, that it just stayed to yelling at each other. Shout out to the police for that, for the court officers, police in that building. I have no idea, Tip Top Entertainment. You will have to go ask them. How the hell do I know why people showing up to court? Maybe they thought it was a bar mitzvah. What the hell do I know? Anyway, let's move on if y'all don't mind. NYC Raw says anyone that's on tax side is going to say Troy lying and vice versa. Yeah, can't argue that point. Anybody find the stand today? Yes, people took the stand. I'm talking about one of them. I will interview any of these guys that want to talk about this after the case. After the case. After the case. Kid says, I'm just reading the comment. This is just a comment. Ken Thompson says, I wouldn't think Troy was credible if I was a juror the moment he said that he sold bricks and told that Superman story. Y'all guys is crazy, man. Anyway, we had another person take the stand. I believe. Oh, no. We still on this particular person. Hold on, let's get back to it. So 2016 was the first time he heard of Malcolm. July 2017, he arrested TAXSTONE. Let me just get back to what we was talking about before so y'all can understand what we was having a discussion about. So basically, this is Officer Santiago. This is the gentleman that was the lead detective that showed up that went in, the lead detective on it, right? So we just spoke about how he went into the building. He didn't know who Troy Ave was. The hip-hop police had to inform him who Troy Ave was because he had no idea who Troy Ave was. Also, just so we could be clear, they identified Tax because the gun that was used, that's the Caltech, that was Tax's gun, and they found out that was Tax's gun because when they traced it back to the actual owner, to the actual person who it was, I guess, registered, whatever the hell, that sold it to Tax, they was able to trace that guy, and that guy said he sold it to TAXSTONE. So that's how they put that gun in TAXSTONE's possession, and TAXSTONE is the one who brought the gun in the building. That's how they did that. TAXSTONE then also, just so we can be clear, he pled guilty in federal court to bringing the gun into New York and or possessing the gun, one of the two, or both of the two. What the hell do I know? So at that point is when they started talking about the witnesses. At that point is when they started talking about the witnesses. And when they start talking about how the witnesses didn't want to help, that's when the objection came through, all that other stuff. Now we on the other side of that conversation. Said in 2016, the first time he heard of Malcolm, he didn't know about Malcolm beforehand, which would make sense because Malcolm was helping the government. In July 2017, they arrested TAXSTONE, right? Now, I gotta wait to tell you this part. So, July 2017, they arrested TAXSTONE. They took swabs of Troy Ave, something about a buckle swab. I don't know what the hell that is, but it's like a different type of swab also. There's two different vouchers, so I don't know how many swabs they took. Anyway, they also got the pedigree information. I believe this is for TAXSTONE, 5'7", a buck 80. Which one of them lived on Abraham Ave? Whoever lived on Abraham Ave in BK, that's who this information is for. In any regard, they thought Troy Ave, initially they thought Troy Ave shot himself. Now remember, this is still the prosecution. Initially, they thought Troy Ave shot himself. The dude said, we thought he cheddar bobbed. Yo, he really said, yo, we thought Troy Ave did the cheddar bob. They was like, huh? We all know what cheddar bob is. So the guy said this on the stand. Shout out to that shit. Then he said they discussed the wound with the doctor working on Troy Ave about the angle of the wound. Said the angle started from lower in the leg and then went up the body. Then, at that point, is when he stopped believing that Troy shot himself. I'm going to say this again. They discussed the wounds with the doctor that was working on Troy Ave. They said that the angle started from lower in the leg and then went up the body. At that point is when he stopped believing that Troy Ave shot himself. So this is basically what I believe them to be trying to denote. What they're trying to say is this is the point that they started focusing on TAXSTONE, or at least focusing on a different individual. They said that he was present when the van was searched, said Tax and Troy, neither one of them got permits for firearms. And then we went over People's 12. People's 12 is the Kel-Tec firearm. It holds 7 rounds. People's 12 is the Kel-Tec firearm. Then they went over, they interviewed, he said he interviewed the girl that got shot. Then there's a video, and specifically People's 1U, that's part of DVR 2, I believe. Let me get my other jump off, give me 1 second. No, that's DVR 1. It's no fucking 1U. It goes up to P. I'll figure that out later. In any regard, they went to a video. The video was of the girl getting shot. No video was released to the media, but somehow the Troy Ave video was leaked. So what they're implying, just so we could be clear, is, because I'm going to say what I believe them to be implying, that's why you're here. It seems like the prosecution was trying to remove Troy Ave as a suspect in the eyes of the juror. So this is not an opinion thing. I'm just telling you, explaining law, right? So I'm explaining, the reason why some of these questions were asked. So first, just so we could be clear, they said that he stopped looking at Troy Ave after he saw the angle of the bullet. Now, the very next questioning that they're doing revolves around, there was a video that was leaked, that Troy Ave video where he's shooting the gun, that was leaked. We should have never got a chance to see that shit. The police didn't leak that. So somebody leaked that footage because they wanted people to point the finger at Troy Ave. And then that was the closing statement. That was it. That was it. Right after she got that out, she was out. So now you know why that guy took the stand. Troy Ave took the stand, right? And then right after Troy Ave, you had another line of evidence, right? And then they have this guy take the stand, and it seems like he's trying to say Troy Ave couldn't have did it, y'all. I'm just saying what he's saying. I'm just saying the questioning in which I scratched that out. I think I was not going to tell you that part. I think I was going to not tell you that part. Sheesh. See, I scratched out that thing right there. Oh, I scratched it out, meaning I decided I was going to tell y'all. I don't know why I decided I was going to tell y'all. Sometimes I leave stuff out on purpose because I don't think it it's not for now. It's to tell you later. Anyway, so the first thing the defense does is says, talks about the world hip hop video, right? And he mentioned the world hip hop video about 2 or 3 times, and then the prosecution objects. So they arguing over this shit. I want to be clear. The prosecution and freaking Esquire and Dr. Keenan over there, they arguing this shit. They yelling. They are yelling at each other. I want you to understand what's going on here. He's asking questions, and she's pissed. She is pissed. I'll explain why in a minute. But she's pissed because remember earlier when she was under direct questioning, she allowed for the dude to say that they used the World Star video to identify people, right? So when he just started questioning and doing his questions, he referred to the video as the World Star video. And him and the dude was just talking. And then she interjected and said TMZ video. So then they got into an argument. So then there was objections all around. Just so we could be clear. At that point, they were let out of the room, I believe. The jury was let out of the room immediately. The judge just stopped everything and said, get the jury out of here. He said like something along those lines. It was crazy. Wait, what's bias? Awesomeness Williams? What are you calling bias? I just want to be clear on this. No, I'm not wearing a mic. I'm going to kick you. I'm going to kick you for 2 reasons. Go get a new account. Oh, I'm not gonna kick you. I apologize. Because I'm upset at that. I'm upset at that comment you just made, right? But I'm not gonna kick you because I'm not gonna kick you because you said something earlier and then you stuck to your word. So I'm not gonna kick you. Shout out to Mr. 444. He said, "Thank you for respecting my family with the dub drop." Nah, for real. Like, shout out to the Most High. We supposed to treat each other in a certain manner, and I'm always gonna try my best to treat people that way. I'm not always successful. I'm not perfect, but I'm gonna try my best. Shout out to the NYC Bloods with the $8 drop. Said thank you for the updates. Because I didn't like a comment you just said. So I was about to get on your ass, NYC Bloods. But you asked me where the Cash App was and then you followed through. So I bought you a reprieve. I granted you a reprieve because you followed through on your word. And obviously, if you put money in the Cash App, that means you're a supporter. And so I gotta take a little, I gotta take a little bit of extra shit. But I did not like a comment you made when you told me to go wear a mic in there. Why are you trying to get me to do stuff and then that's gonna make them guys mad at me for? You're trying to get me in trouble, you rat bastard. You trying to get me in trouble, fam? Any regard. So objection was made. She didn't. I'll explain. I wrote everything down. I wrote enough down for us to get an understanding about why the objection was made. They was objected. It's 2 pages worth of shit why the objection was made. It's 2 pages worth of shit. I don't know what to tell you. They was going at it. Like they was really going at it. So basically, Esquire says that then Esquire is like the prosecution could take the stand if she wants. He said that in front of the jury, and then he said, and as soon as he said that shit, the judge was like, the jury got to go out the room. Esquire was like, because she kept cutting them off. Now, I'm not saying she shouldn't have been cutting them off, just so we could be clear. They was doing what they was doing. But she kept cutting them off to correct them because he kept calling it the World Star video, and then like when I explained the thing, he kept calling it the World Star video. So she kept trying to say it's the TMZ video, and he was just ignoring her. He was just ignoring her. Then he keeps saying the World Star video again, and then she's like the TMZ video, and then he's ignoring her. Then he say the World Star video again. Now nobody ain't answered a damn question. I just want to be clear about this. I don't think nobody answered a damn question. So then the judge says something, and then Esquire says, well, the prosecution could take the stand if she wants. And the judge is like, take the jury in the other room. So then basically what the problem was is that she was saying he was misrepresenting evidence because the TMZ video and the World Star video were the same video. But his whole thing was, you let him call it the World Star video and you ain't tell him nothing. Everybody, that shit went down to 0 for like 2 seconds. So, no, Esquire is the defense attorney. Esquire is the one, Kenneth J. Montgomery Esquire. He's the one, he's TAXSTONE's lawyer. So he's the one that said that the prosecution could take the stand if she wants. They was going at it. They might both need a cigarette. In any regard, her problem or her issue was that those are the same damn videos and he's misrepresenting the evidence. That's what she was saying. But he was saying the witness testified where the shots was fired. It's not because, okay, so I'll explain the whole thing that he was, okay, so hold on. So basically, he was trying to find out when the shots were fired. Because his thing is that somebody was or somebody wasn't in the room when the first shots went off. So he was trying to ascertain when the first shots went off, and also that there was already a commotion and already a thing happening before the first shots went off. So that's what he was talking about, just so we could be clear. Right? So that's what he was talking about. So he was trying to use the video, right? But when he was talking about the video, he kept calling the video the World Star video because that's what the witness called it. When the witness called it the World Star video, she didn't say anything. She didn't correct the witness. Do you understand? Am I coming through loud and clear? Also, if you get kicked, just come back. But am I coming through loud and clear? When the witness called it the World Star witness, she didn't. When the witness called it the World Star video, she didn't correct them. Since she didn't correct them, Esquire said, you know what? I'm going to call it the World Star video too. So when he went up there and was talking to dude, calling it the World Star video, dude just fell in line. Because that's what he called it, the World Star video. But Esquire, I'm going to be honest with you, this nigga slick as shit. He kept throwing in that he don't know where the TMZ video came from. I'm sorry. So he was like, I don't know which video is which video. So he did that shit. I had to hold, I laughed out loud a little. I promise you. I laughed out loud a little. I was like, this N-word. What in the hell, fam? Oh, man. Because as soon as he called it the World Star video the first time, I said, I know where this is going. As soon as he said, well, you know, the World Star video, I said, this rat bastard, he's gonna do it, ain't he? And he leaned dead into that shit. Because as soon as she, look, listen, pay attention. As soon as she allowed the witness to call it the World Star video and did not correct them, the first thing I thought to myself was, this shit is gonna come back and bite her in the ass. I was like, why didn't she correct this fool? Not that the guy's a fool, but you get it. You know how I talk. I'm like, why didn't she correct this guy? But she didn't correct him. Esquire said, oh, man. So, yeah, he was throwing little slick shits in there. So she was like, she was so pissed, she wanted to slap him. I promise you she did. You can hear it in her voice. She wanted to slap this guy. I promise you. She was like, so basically, the jury leaves out. She's like, the TMZ videos and the World Star video, it's the same video. He's misrepresenting evidence. So he says, look, the witness testified when the shots were fired. It's not up to the prosecution. The witness is testifying. It says, you can't hear the TMZ video. You can't hear this video. The video that they showed, you can't hear. It don't got no audio. But the TMZ video, World Star video got audio. So he's like, so that's why I'm talking about the TMZ video. He says avoiding this shit. That's that's why I'm talking about the TMZ video. Then she says that's the same video. She is really going crazy. Like, she's going crazy over this. She is really pissed, man. I promise you. Oh man. She's really pissed about this. I'm being honest. So she's like, it's the same video. She keeps saying that. She's like, say TMZ and the World Star is the same video. He's trying to make it sound like there's more videos out there. So she's saying, then the judge says, you know, because he's fair shit, that it does kind of imply that there's more videos out there that the jury hasn't seen. That's what he was doing. I'm sorry, man. I'm just keeping it a stack. Just so we could be clear, I thought this was great lawyer work. Look, pay attention. It's what you could prove. He's trying to raise reasonable doubt. There's so much that he can't talk about that he believes that's a part of this case. There's a lot he cannot talk about. He can't bring up this problem. He can't bring up that problem. How's he supposed to defend his client? How's he supposed to defend his client? So I don't have a problem. And I thought this was some slick shit. And I don't have a problem with it. That's the law. It's the game of chess. I don't have a problem with it. Oh, she's a lawyer, but she's like, you know, she's really methodical with the way in which she's doing what she's doing. So she's like, you know, Doc Gooden is, you know, he wasn't a real doctor. He pitched for the Mets initially. So, you know, she's real methodical with her work. So, you know, Doc Keenan. Any regard. So he's like, man, I want to finish my cross-examining without the DA interrupting me. The judge is like, look, I don't got no time for this. Do we all agree that there's only one video? The judge is like, man, I ain't got no time for this. Do we all agree that there is only one video? Everybody agrees there's only one video. All the videos are the same video. And then we're going to get back to the redirect. So then he says, do you see any reason to call the video the World Star video? So Esquire's like, the detective called it the World Star video. He's right. He's 100% right. He is one. Once again, I'm going to explain this. When on direct, because she didn't correct him. When he called it the World Star video, I think he called it the World Star video multiple times. She did not correct him. Esquire just used that to his advantage, which is his right. Because she should have corrected her witness. Can we just be clear on that so you can understand what the problem here was? Stupid funny, yo. I was dying back there in my brain because I couldn't be laughing out loud too loud because then people would understand. I saw it coming way down the road. I knew I was going to have this conversation with y'all tonight the minute that he said World Star. The The minute he said World Star the first time, I was like, this is gonna be pointing. We gonna talk about this tonight. I already knew it. I was like, Esquire is not gonna miss that. That was a hanging curveball. He is not gonna miss that. In any regard, the judge deemed all the videos are the same videos. He had enough of this. He said, we're going to call it TMZ from now on. We're not calling none of them videos World Star. He had enough of the mess. He was like, look, fam. Any regard, the jury comes back. This shit was retarded, yo. This shit was crazy. The jury comes back. Then Esquire is still the defense cross-examining. Said people aren't cooperating and they're giving misleading evidence. And some of the people in the room that saw what happened that aren't cooperating, they're giving misleading evidence. Homeboy agrees, just so we can be clear. He also agreed that people with Troy Ave was giving misleading evidence. And not only that, when they wanted to talk to them, they was like, I'm calling my lawyer. So they'll contact the Troy Ave people, you know, about what happened. And then their lawyers will call them back. They lawyered up immediately, which is nothing wrong with that. You should lawyer up, just so we can be clear. The TMZ video, only video that exists outside the courtroom. They have to get that on record, I'm assuming. They searched social media for evidence. So basically what happened is, dude said after the situation, you know, when they're doing whatever they're doing, they searched all the social media for evidence. Like, I keep trying to tell y'all, when y'all doing all of this weirdo shit on the internet, like, you doing weirdo shit, they as soon as they need to know what's going on with you, they're gonna find the weirdo shit you doing. You're gonna have to be able to explain it. That's another reason why don't harass people, because you don't know what's gonna be in your future. Anyway, they wasn't able to identify from the TMZ video. He agreed that they couldn't identify anybody from the TMZ video. They couldn't identify anybody. I have no idea what an iCard is. But apparently, the day after Tax's warrant was put out in 2017, they got a swab from TAXSTONE. So a day after, I have no idea what an iCard is. Somebody tell me what an iCard is. I'm going to go look that up. In any regard, we're going to move on. So they did not swab Block. Didn't get swabbed. B-Boy didn't get swabbed. Scheme didn't get no swabs. They said 9 people came in with Troy Ave into Irving Plaza. Only 4 people came into the actual room, but 9 people came into Irving Plaza with Troy Ave. Several people's DNA was on the gun, just so we can be clear. But they didn't get swabs from the entirety of Troy Ave's camp. Appreciate you. A warrant investigation card. iCard. Appreciate you. No one knew who fired the shot. He agreed on that. And can't see from the video, the TMZ video, who fired the shot. Just curious. Remember the person when I just told you about how Esquire won the argument and the person was like, you must like Esquires. Now the other person won the argument. Are you now going to say that I like the prosecution? Shout out to Pop. I'm going to read this definition of what an iCard is. An iCard is short for an investigation card. An iCard is an online document created by a detective with the New York City Police Department that notifies patrol officers that a person is wanted. Thank you very much. Appreciate you. World Be Free said, I bet the judge came home to watch your stream. I don't see all that. He might not even know what I do for a living. Any regard, appreciate you, Pop. In any regard, June 2017, he testified in front of the grand jury. Pardon me. He testified in front of the grand jury against Tax. And in July 2017, a warrant was issued. Thought Troy Ave Treader bobbed himself. He needs to get that on. This nigga does not like Troy Ave. Esquire does not like Troy Ave. The doctor explained the possibility of the injury have occurred. That there's a possibility that he could have cheddar bobbed himself, basically. Banger, 2 shot wounds, 1 to the chest, 1 to the back. Very late in the investigation, they determined how Banger got shot. He closed his case. So there's a redirect right now. The judge is not allowed to do what? NYC Raw. Oh, watch my trial. I don't know if you think he's watching it for research if he's watching it? In any regard. Brooklyn Don says, I know for a fact Kenneth Montgomery watching this, a.k.a. Esquires. You got to testify in front of a grand jury in order to get bring something to trial. Like, they can't just pick you up and be like, we're taking you to trial. You got to bring the evidence in front of a grand jury, and the grand jury has to then deem that there's enough evidence for the person to go on trial, just in case you know. Any regard. The jury exits for some strange reason. So, I don't know if she was being petty about this or if she just, foresight. But kind of smart. So she goes for her redirect and the jury is asked to exit again. Because she has an issue because the way that Montgomery Esquire, the way that he proposed the questioning made it seem like they didn't know that TAXSTONE was a possible suspect, when in reality they knew TAXSTONE had his DNA on the gun one day after the shooting. So the problem is that she didn't want to bring in TAXSTONE's previous criminal history because that would go against the directives of the court, because that would be evidence or information that will be prejudicial, or would cause for the jury to be prejudicial against TAXSTONE, therefore messing up her case. So when they left out, she wanted to tell the judge that she wanted to inform them that the reason why they already had TAXSTONE's DNA, is because, well, like I said, is smart of her, is because he has a previous situation because his DNA was already in the system. But she didn't want to let them know that his DNA was already in the system, because then that might be going against some of the guidelines that the court has already laid down about bringing up previous crimes that anybody involved in this might have committed that have nothing to do with the actual crimes that he's on trial for. So she didn't want to bring up any other cases that TAXSTONE might have been in. So she asked for or they removed the jury from the courtroom. And shout out to the judge and all attorneys that they had these conversations on the record instead of just going to the sidebar where we don't know what the fuck they talking about. So shout out to that shit. So the jury returns, and apparently not one day after, but apparently in July 6, 2016 is when they found out that TAXSTONE's DNA was on a firearm. And then she brought up that the video, the TMZ and the World Star video is the same video. She ain't gonna let that shit die. This was a big deal, man. I promise you. This was a big deal. She brought that shit back up. Like, it's the same video. Esquire already cleared that up. There was no need for this. But I guess there was need for this. She brought that shit back up. The TMZ and the World Star video, same video. That's the only social media video that was posted. It just had different commentary, but it's the same video. That's the only video anybody had. When arriving at Irving Plaza, he was only informed that several people were shot. Then there's a redirect, and then he plays the Esquire during the force, I guess. Pardon me. Esquire has them play the video, and basically there's people saying yo, yo, yo before the shots are fired, indicating that there was already a situation happening. I'll interview people that want to get interviewed after the case is over. I'm going to stop everything right here. I'm going to give a full explanation. Do y'all remember when we was covering the Treyway Tekashi case? So when we was covering the Treyway Tekashi case, there was YouTube content creators that couldn't get to the courtroom like I could. So whenever I was doing certain things that there's nothing wrong with doing, they were putting it out over the internet that I was doing something that was wrong. And instead of people knowing that I wasn't doing anything wrong, that I was actually, it was okay for me to interview these people coming out the courtroom. Instead of people knowing that, what I got was a whole bunch of bullshit. What I got was disrespected. What I got was people treating me like I was doing something that I wasn't supposed to be doing, even though I was doing what I was supposed to be doing. So I just deemed it that I don't want to interview people no more until after the trial is over, because there's people that's not going to be able to get to the courtroom. And that's just what it is. And instead of them seeing the content that I'm giving and then making their own video off of it, they just going to want to try to figure out how to block me. They just going to want to try to figure out how to get this person upset at me and that person upset at me and this person angry at me and that person angry at me. So then it makes it harder for me to be able to do the content. You understand? So therefore, I'm just going everything down the line in a way that I can give you the best content that I could give you, but I also don't have to worry about, you know, I might never be able to get interviews with certain people now. You know, not in this case, but in other cases because of haters. So now I'm just making it so that there's no way the haters is going to have to overlie. So if you believe them, then you just already just, you know, you was looking for a reason to have a problem with me. You understand? So it's not that I don't want to interview these people and ask them what they think going on through the day or whatever, but I don't want the problems. Is that can you understand that? Is that understandable? I don't want the problems. I don't want the problems. Is that understandable? Y'all have well, I consider myself to be a pretty good journalist, and when I'm doing a good job, the support just isn't there all the time. So I don't want to take chances. You understand? That's it. Let the other people do whatever interviews they gonna be doing. How did the just so we could be clear? How did the argument and the fight almost happen in front of the building the other day? Because you had a nigga interviewing with another nigga, right? You had a dude come out there and start interviewing some people about what happened in the courtroom, and that's how the fight almost happened outside in front of the courthouse, right? You understand what I'm saying? So maybe I'm doing the right thing by not even getting in myself involved in any of that mess. I'm not gossip. You understand? And I don't want to do gossip. You understand? Every once in a while we discuss things that's gossipy because there's nothing else to talk about in the news cycle. But we're not gossip over here. We're news over here. With all due respect. So after all of this is over, I hope to be able to interview these guys. You know, I hope to. If I can't, if they don't want to interview with me, fine, then don't. I'm not gonna lose no sleep over it. I promise you. But if they want to interview with me, then I'm here to be interviewed with. But I'm not gonna lose any sleep over it. I promise you. So just so we could get back where we was at. So she the recrosser, he says I want to redirect recross, whatever the hell. They played a TMZ video, and so basically he gets to the crux of what he was trying to do and show that there is a situation um that there was a commotion happening before the first gunshots, because remember, Esquire and his team's whole point is that TAXSTONE was attacked. So they was trying to show that there was a commotion or a thing going on before the first gunshots happened. So it's not that he just pulled out or whoever that fired just fired. There was a fracas going on first. In any regard, she redirects after that and says, can't see if anyone is running out of the room. And said they can't see if anybody actually ran out of the room. And then that was it. Boom. We went to a break. But when I came back, I don't know the name of this witness, but it was a chick. I believe she's going to be on the witness stand again tomorrow. So I'll be able to get her name then. Because they haven't even, Esquire didn't get a chance to talk to her yet. So I'll give you this information tomorrow on what she spoke about. It's not nothing that I guess we got to talk about right now. It's about thumb drives and yada yadas. So I don't want to give you the prosecution's position on this until we also have whether the defense wants to speak to her or not. Because she does say quite a few things, just so we can be clear. So I might have to get a whole nother book also, right? Yeah. Ah, that's gonna suck. What time we got? Damn, it's 11 o'clock. It's 11 o'clock. I got to start these shows a little bit earlier than now. Is there anything that y'all want to ask me about? We're probably going to end the show soon. Is there anything that you want to ask me about before we walk out the door? And if you have enjoyed our show at all today, you can pull up to the Cash App. But yeah, that's why I'm not really interviewing nobody. You understand? Y'all really need to start supporting when we got our brothers out here that's really doing shit, and you see that there's just haters. Like, you should start supporting the niggas that's really out here doing shit. You know what I'm saying? Because we kind of get put in a box sometimes, and we're not even able to do everything that we want to do because we get put in a box. You understand what I'm saying? It probably should only be a couple of more weeks, maybe a week and a half more, 2 weeks at the most. Remember, the defense team didn't put on their case yet. I have no idea if they plan on bringing anybody to the stand. I'm going to assume so, though. I'm going to assume yes. I'm going to assume yes. And it's dope that what's dope is how mofos that I'm actually meeting it's like, yo, them niggas is clowns. Whenever they talk about the haters, they be like, them niggas is clowns. That's kind of dope. I don't have any opinion on who has an edge or doesn't have an edge. As far as I know, Tax is not supposed to testify. I do not know what Troy Ave has been posting. I'll go look real quick. It has to be insanity, so I haven't been looking at it. I ain't gonna lie to you. Shout out to Minnie Soul. She a crit. Little cutie. I have no idea what Troy Ave has been posting. I'm assuming it's all insanity. Guys, I don't know what to tell you. If you ever had a hater, we dropping the Mad About challenge. Okay, so yeah, I can't hear this. Is my shit still hooked up to the other thing? Hold on a second. Oh, I know why I can't hear it. Okay. Oh, he don't got his voice on purpose. He just got the nigga yelling and screaming. Yo, look. There we go. As Manolo pissed off, and then Troy Ave dropped the post about him or whatever, calling him a hater. Troy Ave is entertaining, if not anything else. If there's nothing else about the dude, he entertaining his shit. I don't know what to tell you. I don't really want to get into whatever that argument was that Manolo was having outside the front of the building, with all due respect. Is it something wrong that I laugh at the way that I talk sometimes? I laugh at the way that I talk. I make myself laugh and shit. Can the defense call Troy back to the stand? I don't see no reason why they can't call him back to the stand if need be. Dan says Troy posted all these videos and diss tracks might backfire. It might. I don't know. Um, Lovecraft says, let's dead the word snitch. Damn, if a person commits a crime with you and entails on you to get out of said crime, that's snitching. That is what snitching is. But I think the point that some people are trying to make, just to be in all fairness, if you a street dude out in the street doing street shit, you can't snitch on the people that you doing street shit against, and those people can't snitch on you. I think that's the point people are trying to make when they calling Troy Ave a snitch. I'm not calling nobody nothing. But I think their point is, if Troy Ave is in the street doing street shit, you can't then go snitch on the other nigga when the nigga get a one up on you. Is that clear? Is that what you believe? Is anybody understand what I'm saying? Like if you shooting at a nigga and you don't get shot, but he gets shot, he can't then go tell the police. Right? Nobody gonna answer? Nobody don't want to touch that? Baby Wizard Kelly says that's what I'm saying. But I do agree, people are 100% using the term snitch incorrectly. Like a lot. Like I do agree with that. That the word has definitely been being used incorrectly often. I agree with that 100%. I don't know if I can call Troy a snitch in this particular situation. Um, but I don't know if he. Some people aren't calling him a snitch; they call him a liar. So how do you feel about that? All I can say is this: for anybody that knows what happened and they act like they act like they casting over people, and they saw what happened, and Troy Ave got on the stand and he's saying something that is not the truth, and they're not gonna take the stand and they're gonna allow for whatever happened to tax to happen to tax, then I don't know how I'd feel about those people. Like not me personally, but I'm talking about they other niggas that they go do all of this dope shit with in the world. I don't know, like how do you rock with that person? Because now if something happened to you, that is a dub, right? Shai says the part about the snitching you are missing is that he testified as a cooperating witness in order to shorten his own sentence in his own criminal proceedings. I mean, that's a great point. I mean, I'm not disputing that point, but I think the other thing that I said would also encapsulate that because they was busy in the street beefing. But that's a great point. I don't know if Tax should or shouldn't take the stand. Remember, Troy Ave made a deal with the government. So if he gets on the stand and talks about crimes, so when he gets on the stand and talks about crime, when he gets on the stand and he talks about crimes, he's covered. If Troy Ave gets on the stand and talks about crimes, he's not covered. I mean, TAXSTONE. So I don't know how good of an idea that would be. Dan says if you live that life, then the rules apply. Might be stupid and petty. Might be stupid and petty to some, but facts to many. NYC Raw says the mother don't care about the snitching. She wants what she wants. And I'm pretty sure that the mother on Banger's side, Banger's moms, I believe she wants what she perceives to be justice also. So whose justice comes first? With all due respect. Whose justice comes first? Yes, I believe that is TAXSTONE's moms that I see in court. I have no idea who that woman is, but she looks like a mom's to me, and she got that mom energy. I'm scared of her. I don't know what to tell you. She got that mom energy. Like, I'm scared of her. So I don't know what to tell you. If you're enjoying any aspect of this show, you can always pull up to the Cash App to show your support. Also, let's get those likes up, man. We got a video the other day that got the 200 likes. Let's try to do that shit again. Charisma says, I think you will be a good lawyer, Froze. Appreciate you. I don't know. Sometimes I know who people are if I see a picture, but I don't know if I see them to their face. So as far as I know, Star Brim is not showing up. But she might have. She might have. Any other questions? Come on, we had almost 200 likes the other day. Let's try to see if we can get to 200 likes today. For real, for real. Hit that button. And if you would like to show further support to the platform, you can also always pull up to the Cash App. Corey Wilkerson says Troy is a snitch based on those rules. Troy was the biggest tough guy, and then he goes and tells. If he a civilian like all of us, then I will understand. He's the biggest gangster drug dealer. Good point. Baby Wizard Kelly says, all my life I hear rap songs about bringing guns in the club. Now it happens, it says cloud, but it's club. Club. But now that it happens and people sad, nah, we all dancing back to the, we not doing that. Stop, man. You was making a great point and then you just went left. Why? Troy dissed Trife on a song, and he might have dissed more people in their family on the song. Troy just apparently just disses everybody. I'm not mad at him. I'm just saying that's what happened. Sitting in the courtroom, is the picture being painted to the point where you feel like you're in the back room watching it happen? I think they're doing a pretty good job on both sides of with their. I think they're doing a pretty good job on both sides of illuminating, what either side figures what's going on. And that's another reason why I called homegirl Dot Keenan, because she is very meticulous. And that's why I'm surprised that she allowed the dude to call the damn thing the World Star. Like, why? Like, how did you slip up on that? Copy. NYC copy, baby, Wizard Kelly. NYC Raw said he dissed him in the song, but that was during the moment. They spoke during and after the fact. All right, that's cool. Yeah, they had tons of crime scene photos of the green room. Obviously, I can't get those photos and show them to you, but they were there. Is Tax cooked? I have no opinion on whether he's going to be found guilty and or innocent, just so we can be clear. I have zero opinion on that. Bruce Banner says Trife was the first person that tweeted Tax shot banger. Okay. There were photos of the room. And then they had these little yellow cards placed on the ground to indicate what evidence was. That's it. I have no idea why you think Tax is taking a stand, Billy Pistols. Do you know something I don't? Or you just saying stuff? It's okay if you're just saying stuff, by the way. I think that would be, I don't agree with that move neither. Either. Right, by the way. Ah, you just saying stuff. Shout out to Billy Pistols. He came in here saying stuff. We got 242 people in here, man. Let's see if we can get those likes to 200. Pop says Troy Ave has changed his story numerous times and disrespected everyone involved. Roland Collins has shown himself to not be sturdy or able to accurately recount events. Okay. Baby Wizard Kelly said Tax rather get 40 in the hole and stay honorable. I don't think him taking the stand is going to help him not be found guilty. Just so we can be clear. I think that's a big assumption. What up, SC? He says, peace, my brother. Great job as usual. Hit that like button if you like the job so good, rat bastard. We need you. We trying to get to 200. Corey Wilkinson says, could they spin as self-defense if Troy and Benga was the aggressors? I think that's what the defense is trying to do currently. Just so we can be clear. I think that is what they're attempting to do. I don't know how successful they are at it, but I do believe that that's what they're attempting to do. I'm not speaking on how successful they are at it or not, but I do believe that is what they are attempting to do. Tax did not write the letter to the judge. His lawyer wrote it. We got 170. It's 170 likes. Come on, man. We might be able to get to 200 before the show's over. That's what they should be doing. It's right there in the front of them. Wait, what should they be doing? What's right there in the front of them? What are you talking about? Tax did not write the letter to the judge. The lawyer wrote the letter to the judge. A female that was with Mano got shot. I don't know if that was his actual girlfriend. Marion. Pop says, 799 says, Tax on the stand is a high risk, low reward. Yeah, I don't think that. I think that if they put Tax on the stand, the prosecutor would be salivating. That's a good point, NYC Raw. Tax approved the letter, hence his royal works for him. That's a good point. Tony Wall says, who has the footage running out of the room when Troy ran out of the green room? Bobby Wizard Kelly says his best chance takes the stand. Look at this is too different. I think Baby Wizard Kelly, I hope you don't ever have to be a defense an accused, because you might insist on taking the stand when you shouldn't. If you think him taking the stand is the same as Tory Lanez taking the stand, that's just kind of insanity. Tax had Rock Nation on his side, and we seen how that went with the Tory Lanez case. Tory Lanez did not have Rock Nation on his side. Rock Nation was actually on the other side. Charisma said, any black people in the jury? Yes, they are a couple. Marion Newsom says they would eat Tax alive on the stand. I agree. Lovecraft says, good job. Frost, this is making my work shift go by fast. Salute, Lovecraft. You at work? Pull up to the Cash App. NYC Raw says, laugh out loud. Word, prosecutor would be drooling and salivating. Brooklyn said, Esquire would never let his client take the stand. I agree. I don't think that would be the smart move. And if I don't think it's a smart move, I could only assume he wouldn't either. 799 says, best play is to allow the facts or lack thereof to speak. Also, Troy Avenue testimony was a huge character reference and reflects his accounts of the event. That's a good point. This Kelly guy really thinks that this dude should take the stand. I disagree. If tax was used in self-defense, it would have been better for him. I don't know. You still have to prove self-defense. He can't even allow none of the evidence has been coming in. None of the evidence has been coming in. How do you say that would even have allowed for him to use that as a defense? You do know that, right? Like, he has to actually have evidence that's usable to be able to prove or be able to. Amaru says that they had no change. Apparently, Amaru thinks I need change. So now I'm going to be accepting Lovecraft as a hostile. Like, what the hell, fam? Montgomery shouldn't have been on power. Should have been on power. 799 says self-defense in New York City is so hard, especially when an attacker dies. Facts. Or a person. I don't know how to take that sentence. Trench Gamer says, you mad weird, my boy. Not a problem. I'll let you go out the door. Everybody wave at that Trench guy. He's going to be on the outside of the door looking in. Charisma says, how does New York self-defense law work? It's extremely difficult. It's so hard to prove self-defense that nowadays when lawyers say that their client is going to freaking go for self-defense, you just got to assume that they don't have no defense. NYC Raw says, bringing a gun to the club is not self-defense. Y'all be seen as the aggressor looking for trouble. Prosecutors will have a field day. It's really hard to prove self-defense. Thanks for waving at him. 799 waved that dude. He came here talking crazy. I just kicked him. Shai says the letter that was written to the judge regarding the bail cannot be considered as writing. They simply asked if Roland was on camera shoot firearm. He was not allowed on bail. Why is in tax? Okay. Bruce Banner says, here's the lyrics that triggered TAXSTONE. Twitter fingers, how many times you're going to be tweeting? I'm always on the flyers. I guess you always afraid to meet me. Okay. Because he's a convicted felon. Yeah, that's even going to make it more difficult. Dan says, do you believe that since tax is not seen on camera, that it's still hard to prove with all of the testimonies? Why do people keep trying to get me to tell you whether I think the dude is going to be found guilty or innocent? No matter how many times I say, you know what, I'm not answering. I have no opinion. So I can't answer your question. Miguel Medina says, Casanova on the wiretap says TAXSTONE shot up the club. I did not mean to read that comment, but yes, that happened. Marion Newsom says they got his DNA, Dan. Yes, they do. They have his DNA. And they have a witness saying he did it. Troy Ave. 799 says, stop it, Bruce. Laughing my ass over. What did Bruce say? Oh, no one is entertaining Troy Ave. He had the doodle song and was at the end of his 15 minutes. Shice, you're doing a great job with this coverage, by the way. Appreciate you. Salute. Last person I told to pull up to the Cash App, they thought I wanted change, so I'm not going to say nothing to you. Let's hit that like button, though. Let's get up to 200 likes. There is no footage of him shooting a gun. Elgin Tyne says that. No, there is no footage of him actually shooting a gun. Not that I've seen. All right. I think that we're going on 3 hours. I think this is enough time. We're going to be back tomorrow. I haven't been doing the midday live. I actually have a place I could do the midday live at, so that's not the issue. I just actually sat down and enjoyed having an actual lunch. Yeah, I just actually sat down today and enjoyed having an actual lunch. So I doubt if we're gonna have a midday live tomorrow. Something extremely dope happened. We probably gonna still wait until I get back to the crib. Because I'm not gonna lie to you. It felt good to sit down and have an actual lunch and to eat food and not be stressed and worried about getting back to the courtroom and all that other mess. It felt good. With that being said, I love all of y'all. If you got anybody still awake in your household, please give them a hug. Tell them you love them. You don't never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Appreciate you, Lovecraft. I didn't kick you, right? So I didn't take it personal. Um, if you got anybody still in your home, if you got anybody still awake in your home, please give them a hug. Tell them you love them. You don't never know what's going to happen tomorrow. Give people their flowers while they still here. Also, before we go to bed and after we wake up, water. Why? Because you want to, on an empty stomach, you want to get that water in you because it's gonna help your stomach absorb the nutrients even better. So it's gonna help you get all the healthy stuff out of the waters. And whenever we're helping somebody else be the best them that they could be in that moment, we being the best us that we could be. So go out there and be great. God first. Like, comment, subscribe. Join the notification game. Hashtag Bronx Bombers. Let's get it. I love y'all. Take care of each other. Hug the kids for me. I haven't forgotten about you. And that's all I got on this one.